Welcome to Talk of the Town, proudly brought to you by Uniquely Nelson. I'm your host, Chris Butler. With me, Simon Duffy, General Manager of Uniquely Nelson. Nice to see you again, Simon.
Morning.
Today, we're coming to you from Little India on Hardy Street. How's this? Nice setting, isn't it?
Very colourful. Want a lamp-a-sander,
that's right.
This is the place.
Just put your order in now. They'll deliver while the podcast.
It's really
nice
smells in here. It's lunchtime.
It is. Yeah. Joining us today is Kate Bradley, who's the owner of Kate Bradley and Associates on Bridge Street.
Hi.
Nice to see you, Kate.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Now, before we get into some changes in your business life and the new enterprise, can you tell us a little bit about your background and where you're from?
Oh, well, we got here when I was about 10 years old, so I'm not quite a Nelsonian, but I think I can fool most of the people.
Geez, I think you've earned your stripes by now.
Yeah.
So
where did the family originally hail from then?
Well, originally Oamaru, but
right.
Then we moved to Wellington. My dad was a teacher, and then he got a job here at Nayland College. So that's where all of us kids went to, and my son went there, and now my granddaughter's there. So yeah, it's a bit of a heritage there. So.
Your background is almost identical to mine. 10 years old.
Yeah.
Moved here. Mum and dad were teachers.
Yeah.
And we moved every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
I lived in 7 schoolhouses before age of 10, and we finally came here, and they stopped moving.
Oh, that's great. Well, why would you leave?
Yeah.
Why would you leave? Where could you go that's a better place than Nelson? Really?
Especially teachers. They get their job and they retire here on that job.
Anyway. So you've had a big background in real estate, which we'll talk more about, but has there been any other career that you've been involved in before real estate? No, it's always been that.
No, although I was just pumping school, I hated it with a vengeance. It was not a place for me. I was only there for the social occasions. So I left when I was 15, and I actually got a job in a solicitor's office. So I worked there for a wee while, and then I didn't like being sort of stuck in a little room. So I thought, oh no, this is not me. So I went out and did some retail, then got married, had my family, and then I was in my very early 30s, and I thought, well, what am I going to do from here on in? Because I didn't just want a little job. I wanted something that was actually a career. And as a fifth form dropout, where did you go? So I saw an ad for Baldwin and Brown, actually, looking for a salesperson. So I was so excited that I got that job. Obviously had to do exams and everything first, but I got this job, and then it was only sort of later on, as you've been in the industry for a bit, you kind of realise that, if you've got half a head on your shoulders, a decent car, and have a cell phone, that you can be a real estate agent. So I thought I'd sort of pushed out all the competition, but maybe there was no competition. I don't know,
but it is interesting because a lot of people sometimes when they're looking at crossroads, they'll think of that as an option and they'll give it a crack. But it's not for everyone, is it? Because it's not as easy as you think.
No, it's not. It's possibly harder now than it was then. As I say, you had a decent wardrobe, a half-pay decent car, and a cell phone, you could set the world on fire. But, now there's a bit more to it. There's a lot more legislation that salespeople need to be up with. And as an owner, you have to supervise those, because if they step out of line, it's not only they're going to be taken to wherever it needs to be taken to, but you will be as well in your company. So there's a lot more supervision that goes on, a lot more legislation, and
So how did you end up becoming your own boss? How did you branch out and do your own thing?
Well, it was about 2010, and I was like, do I want the market wasn't that great. It was okay, but not that great. And I thought, do I want to get out or do I want to get in? I was kind of reached an end of it, and I thought, well, if you're going to get out. And what are you going to do? It's like, well, I don't know what I'll do. And then I thought, oh, well, let's jump right in.
Straight back in.
And let's do it for myself. So that's when I bought the Remax brand. And we had that for 14 years. And I think that you just don't need to have the big office space. Since COVID, a lot of agents have figured out they can work from home. They don't need to come into the office every day. They've got computers, they've got printers, they can do what they need to do from home and only come in when something's necessary. So I thought, okay, well, let's, I guess my age too, you know, I'm kind of looking at how do I back out of this? So I didn't need my big building anymore. So I sold that and thought, okay, we'll just do it down where we are now in Mokatu Square and do that for a few years, see how it goes. But at the end of the day, I can just go, actually, I've had enough now.
And you
So-
just recently moved to a new premise
have,
because we
yes.
virtual reality it.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I think it looks really good.
Mm.
It's in the Wakatu Square and at the end of the bus station building. So I don't know how long we can be there because obviously the bus station is moving.
Yeah, that's right. Bit of development down that way.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
there's
Yeah.
a lot going on around there with Connings and
Yeah.
Good For and then the Save Mart and there's all sorts of really cool people that all say hello to you now, you know, whereas before we were perhaps a little bit off the beaten track. And I thought we had good profile where we were, but man, what we're getting now with people going, oh, it's great to see you here and so on and so forth. It's really good.
You got great window space.
We sure do.
Yeah, that was I walked past. I was coming back from somewhere, and I went,
Yeah,
like it's right there. You cannot miss it.
it's in your face, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So, you know, we're talking about I guess the rebrand, if you like, you know, because I don't, you know, my question was going to be, do you think that not being aligned to a big brand has been harder for you? But in actual fact, whenever I thought of Remax, I thought of Kate Bradley,
Well,
you know, so the personal brand was still, because, you know, before you even took on Remax, we knew, well, you know, some of us, most of us maybe knew who you were. So, you know, oh, Kate's taking on Remax, and I can understand maybe franchise support systems and networks, but there's it seems to me a lot more real estate agents are going out with their own name on the brand and associates kind of thing, and it gives it a more boutique in a way and independent look to the industry, doesn't it?
Well, I think it's a little bit more personal too. I think that the big brands have been great for years and years, but I'm reluctant to say this, but I think they may have almost done their time. I think people look for the agent, not particularly the brand. So if you're looking to sell something and you know that person, you're more likely to go to them than to go to something that's got big flashy lights and big offices, you know. Not saying that it's not something that goes on, but for me and my sales team who all said, great, we're all coming with you, which was a shot in the arm. And then it's like, well, what are we going to be called? And they said, oh, it'd be dumb not to put your name in it. And I'm like, oh, you know, you don't. But it's great, you know. And they've, as I say, they've all come with. So it's just different building, really, different name.
Like you said, that's that personal, it's intimate. You know, it's that people look for that, especially, you know, in the last 3 or 4 years, is that there's more and more of a personal connection with, especially if they're going to be parting with a few dollars. They do want a relationship as opposed to just a transaction.
I think so. And I think local, although, as I said, I haven't been here my whole life, I certainly grew up here, and so did the people that work with me, that we are local people, and we're not just, you know, we've all got enough experience now that we're not just trying out to see if this industry works for us. This is our careers and this is what we do.
Big ebbs and flows in recent years, and maybe you could argue it's always been that way. What, in your opinion, is happening with the market at the moment? What have you seen, I guess, looking back over the last few years to what's happening now?
Well, everybody was saying during COVID, that's the end of the market, that'll all crash, the boom will be gone and all the rest of it. And, you know, I was talking to a couple of people at that stage and I could not figure out why they would say that, why economists were saying that when we had low interest rates, a lot of people that could then afford to buy that had never been able to buy again. We had a glut on the market of spec homes. And the interest rates were ridiculous, and we're not going to see those kind of interest rates again. But it was a good thing at the time. But we're kind of suffering from it now that the interest rates have shot right up. I think a lot of people are hanging on by the skin of their teeth and wait week by week to see those interest rates come down. And I think that if they can hold on, they should hold on. However, that doesn't help my industry when we want more things to sell. But buyers are being very cheeky, if you like, with the offers that they're making. And I think that if the property's priced appropriately, then it will sell. You know, vendors are still hoping because I paid that much, I need that much, but that's not out there at the moment. And that may change in the latter part of this year or early next year, but it's not reality now. So buyers are being told, oh, well, you know, if you want to buy anything, go in with a really low offer because they just might take it. But, you know, we've already got the vendors to where we think the market should be. So all you're really doing when you come in with a low ball price like that is getting the vendors back up, and then then they say, well, I don't want to deal with them anyway. So it just makes life a little harder.
So really, it just depends on your patience, really, isn't it? How much of a need to sell, or you know, if you know, I'm not just going to take silly offers. And I suppose it depends on circumstance. Earlier in the year, a lot of listings, like obviously with the adjustment, but how's that transpired as the year's gone on?
Well, I don't know that there was a lot of listings because just before Christmas there was nothing really came to the market at all. So all it really did was wait till after Christmas, and then we got those ones that were going to sell anyway. So they all kind of came to market at the one stage. But we're definitely not seeing a lot on the market. There's more. Buyers are not fussier, just they have the ability to look around, whereas before, you know, 1 or 2 properties were coming to the market and we were getting multi offers of 13, 15 people wanting to buy them. You know, we're not getting that anymore. You know, we might get 1 or 2, but
so coming from Remax to what you're doing now for yourself and for the staff, what do you look like on a day-to-day? What are you doing within the business that maybe you're doing different at Remax? Are you still, because as you're saying, the staff came with you, you're out selling as well, or is it more running the business, or both, a bit of both? I
love selling. I love the getting out and the dealing with the people and everything else. I have really good support staff. I have 2 admin who are onto it and know what they're doing. Every now and again, I might get a, hey, what do you want me to do about this? But generally, I do love listing properties and selling properties because that's where you deal with the people rather than the problems, you know? We also do training all the time for salespeople because there's stuff changing all the time, you know?
Is that more the legal side you mentioned earlier? Is it?
Yeah, we have to do, which sounds like not much, and it isn't much, but we have to do 10 hours of what they call verifiable training, which is what the real estate authority tell us we have to do on the subjects that we need to do them on. And then we also have another 10 hours of non-verifiable. So it could be on, I don't know, changes within AML or what's required by, you know, Department of Internal Affairs or something like that. So there's all that kind of stuff. And the salespeople need to be up with it because, and that's where your support staff comes in to check that they are up with it and have done what is required.
Otherwise, there's obviously liability.
There's liability. There's liability, but also, you know, there's all the acts of Parliament that we also have to comply with as well. You know, the Fair Trading and the Contracts Act and all those type of things that you need to know about, and you know, the different clauses and how you could get caught up if that clause isn't in the contract when you thought it was going to be, or the vendor or the purchaser thought it was going to be. So there's all the legal side and the
you know, on that with compliance and also finance, the government is trying to look at ways on how to streamline that a little bit. They were talking about, again, they don't necessarily think that they need to know about your Netflix bill, or you know, we're going to try and make that a little bit easier. Is there some hope that things will be a little bit more streamlined and in compliance with everything that you have to go through? Do you think that needs to be eased, or do you think it's still very important to have all of that?
When the anti-money laundering thing came in, I thought, oh, for heaven's sake, you know, really, do we have to do this? Surely this isn't our job. Surely that's the banks and the solicitors' job and not ours. But, you know, you can see why. And if we want to be in a global world, of finance, then that's the way we stop
Right.
we stop it, you know. And the first few times it was a bit embarrassing to say to someone, right, I need to see your passport and I want to see your rates bill or whatever it is. And they'd go, why? And I'd go, well, I need to make sure that you're not a Chinese triad or a Mexican drug runner or something like that. And you just had to take it lightly like that. But now you go anywhere, they ask you for your driver's license or your whatever. So
Validated.
So in a way, with all of that, because sometimes all that paperwork can get daunting, using a real estate agent or using someone with all that experience can help you a lot, really, in a way, can't you? Through the storm.
Yeah, absolutely, it can, you know, and the legislation is huge. And of course, any government is going to make you figure it out. They're not going to give you a program that works it. So you've got to spend that money to do that. And every time something else comes in, well, I guess it's like GST. You know, we all had to be tax collectors for the government, and now we have to check that you're all good people. So and not to mention when you're selling the house, there's the building codes and you know what the LIM reports say and all of those things now, which that's important when you're buying, you know. It's like, you know, Dad and the uncle built the other bedroom on the house back in the 60s because they had a spare weekend, you know.
That's right.
And poured the concrete from the concrete mixer. You know, I mean, that's great. That's what they did back then. But now when you're selling that house, it needs to be ticked off with the council. And if it's not, it's only going to come back and bite you when you decide to sell it.
Yeah.
So yes, if you're going to be building anything on or adding anything onto your house, yes, you've got to get it's not a permit now, it's a consent. And that's got to comply with the Building Act and everything else. And then the people that are buying it are going to get their builder to come through and check out that everything's good. So, you know, and I think that people, when they're buying a house, they deserve to know what they're buying and what's happening
right up front.
So it's almost worth having a chat to you earlier on the piece. So if you're contemplating on selling a house, just have a conversation prior to that going ahead, because usually there's a few things to sort out, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, there's all sorts of things now. You know, it's like we obviously get the council file before we list any houses because we need to know what's in there, and we need to ask the owner. And in a lot of cases, they'll say, "I don't know. I don't know." And, you know, but you need to know whether it's in what they call a hail zone now, which might be, for instance, down round, just as an area, down around the Nayland area where it all used to be orchards. You know, there could have been sprays used and so on and so forth. So most people aren't too concerned about that because we haven't had too many two-headed children being born down there. You know, it's
be interesting being a real estate agent in Mapua.
Yes, it would.
We're not in there for decades.
But they have their own things, you know, and that's where I think your local knowledge comes in. What did this place used to be? You know, where's the creek? Where's the creek, and did it rise and did we flood people in the last couple of go-rounds with storms? You know, that kind of thing. And it's, you know, it's amazing when we talk in our office and someone says, "Oh, I've got this," and, you know, I've got this property, and they go, "Oh, you know, was that affected in the whatever?" And you think, oh man, there's something else to remember. But it's all stuff that's our job, you know, and if you're holding your hand out for money, then you need to do it professionally. You know? I
was going to ask you, what do you enjoy the most of the job? But you actually answered that a few questions ago.
All of it.
But especially the sales thing.
Yeah, especially the sales thing.
Because that's all about people. You come across a people person.
Yeah, I love people, but the best thing is, you know, like on settlement day, handing those people the keys, you know, taking them a small gift or whatever, and just seeing the rapture on their faces. This is my house, you know.
Does that rule still apply? I remember I knew someone in Auckland, and they worked for Harcourts, and wasn't that particular person, but they'd sold a house. They went around with a couple of bottles of champagne to the new owners and said, "Here you go," and and they woke up next morning and said, "We don't want that house now."
Oops.
And they go, he said, "But you signed for it." He said, "But you gave us alcohol and we're very excited."
Oh,
yes. And I went, and apparently back then, it was Mike Green, Harcourts in Mount Eden. And they reneged on the agreement because they'd signed it and celebrated with alcohol. is that true?
Well,
Is that
surely
not
you'd
right?
sign first anyway, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Before you
Yeah.
cracked open the
But I
box.
think in those days, that, you know, we'd have signed here, let's crack it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you should, I mean, your agent shouldn't show up after having a few. Worst thing is going to sign an agreement on a Friday night
Yeah,
when
that's
the
right.
drinks are in the office, you know?
Yeah.
No, I can't have one. I've got an offer. You know?
Good
So
night, yeah.
here's a tip, ladies and gentlemen. The
Yeah.
cork does not come out of the bottle
No. For the ink
till
dries.
after the
Yeah,
ink is dry.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So spare time, do you get
Um,
any? And also, what do you like to do?
Well, I think I have spare time. I mean, I'm always like, oh, I better go down to the office and do and do and do. But I'm a reader. I'm a chronic reader. I'll go home at lunchtime, pick up my book and read it while I'm having lunch and put it down and pick it up again when I go home. I love reading because I guess it takes me out of where I am in my real life.
Space.
Yeah. I love music, all sorts. I'm probably a bit of a country closet queen, but that's my thing.
Yep.
But I do like all sorts of music. I like hard rock as well, so that's cool. I like cooking, but I hate doing the day-to-day dinner. I hate that.
Right.
You know,
What,
so
the evening meal?
just the ordinary, mundane, what are we having for dinner type thing. I hate
Chili. Use more chili.
it.
It's a joke.
Yeah, but I like if it's actually what are we going to have for dinner? It's Saturday and I'm gonna make dinner. You know, what are we going to have? And let's do something a little bit different. You know, yeah. So yeah.
So Master Chef is.
It's not my thing. I hate
you
those
don't
sort of
MasterChef.
programs.
Oh, there you
I
go.
hate them.
So experimentation. You like
yeah,
throwing a few.
Fridge meal. We open the door and go.
Jamie Oliver's my man.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't like reality TV at all.
Any reality TV.
No, you
Well, it's reality you're watching when it's not really reality at
oh,
all. It's
those-
rubbish.
Those
It's rubbish.
castaways and
Oh, yeah.
and the cooking ones and stuff like that. You know, I do like the travel ones. They're pretty cool.
Mhm.
And I'm enjoying that one at the moment with what is it? The house in Italy that they're doing with
Oh, yes, Ellen Carr,
and
yeah.
her with the big laugh. Yeah.
Yeah, they bring a bit of humour into it,
Yeah.
don't they?
Yeah.
You work right in the heart of Nelson. What do you enjoy about Nelson? Like I said, you've been here since 10, but your working years here in Nelson City. And what more would you like to see in Nelson?
Okay, first of all, I love Nelson City.
Yep.
During COVID, I got I don't know what you call it, fear of being left behind or withdrawals or whatever. And I used to come and go for a walk down by the river and just walk through town. It's like nothing was going on.
Yeah, I used to do that.
Windows were
Yeah.
the same. There were leaves everywhere and there was nobody else around but just walking through.
No, but occasionally you'd see someone you might know, and they're on the other side of the
Yeah.
road, and you just gave a wave.
Yeah.
It was
Absolutely.
funny.
So that's great. I love the fact that Nelson kind of changes all the time with the trees and the leaves and this, and summertime is great. I'd like to see more going on in the city. But I'm a firm believer in the CBD as the central business district. It's not a playground. It's not a place to bring your kids and go skateboarding up the centre of town because we've decided to block that off.
Yeah.
I absolutely hated when they put that horrible green carpet outside
the plastic grass.
Street. That
Yeah.
was disgusting.
Mm.
But anyway, they've taken that away, so that's good. I
Yeah.
think that we need more vibrancy. It's horrible seeing shops closed and blank spaces, but I think that the council and the arts, I suppose it's the Arts Council, I don't know, doing things with things on windows so that it doesn't look like it's all boarded up with newsprint, you know. I think they do really well. I'm okay with having a mask parade and closing off the streets for a day, but that's it. That's it. Yeah. As I say, I think it's a business district. I really like it when lunchtime, you see people outside eating their lunch on the benches around the place. I'm really loving the wee seat outside our office, which is Scotty's seat. It's just great. There's always someone there.
He came across? Of course you did.
No, not my Scotty. Scotty Harris, the shoe guy.
Oh, you're right.
The shoe fixer guy.
Yep.
Yeah, so they put a seat out there in memory of him, which is great. I think you almost have to fight to get it, you know. But it's great. It's sunny. You can see across. There's always people walking past, and So I think that Nelson is great. We're just going through a wee bit of a tough time now, but we'll bounce back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I tell you what I really enjoy is that walk around Nelson. You know, you go past and you see pictures and it's like, oh, this is cool. Yeah. So I think that we do things that are pretty awesome in Nelson. And, you know, you leave Nelson, you go away for the weekend and you come back over Gentle Laddie or over Spooners. You think, oh, home now.
Yeah, down through the valley.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's a wonderful place,
Yeah.
you know.
He slowly reconnected. I was up in the St. Arded last Friday, Saturday. You come over the hill and you start going through Belgrove or Fox Hill and then it gets bigger. You get to Wakefield.
Yeah.
And you get Brightwater and then into
It's not
Richmond.
for a pie in Wakefield, though, don't you?
Yeah, we did it on the way out and we had to queue.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Out the door.
Yeah.
That's right.
I thought, man, this is...
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah. It's amazing.
Well, Kate, thank you very much for coming in. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's been nice catching up.
Congratulations on the change, Kate Bradley and Associates.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Otherwise known as KBA Realty. So
KBA
easier.
Realty. Oh, there you
Much
go.
easier. And that's the way we answer the phone. So, yeah.
Oh, right. There you go. A tip for you, KBA it is.
Yeah.
So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Well done. And keep it going. Keep
Well,
turning
yeah.
over those houses.
Keep the passion.
It keeps the wheels
on the way
turning in the
through.
region, that's for sure.
Well, I don't know what I'd do if I stopped. You know.
Yeah, that's
Would I
right.
cook all day.
That's read a lot of books. Well, we really appreciate you coming in and all the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
That's Kate Bradley from KBA and Associates, I should say. You can find this podcast along with others at uniquelynelson.co.nz and talknelson.co.nz, and Uniquely Nelson now has Spotify, so make sure you look for them on that. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to join us next time for more from Talk of the Town. This is Chris Butler and Simon Duffy signing off. Until next time, Nelson.
Stay uniquely Kate.
Oh, okay.
I'll go with that too.